Godzilla. Directed by Gareth Edwards. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Directed by Michael Dougherty. Despite being a direct sequel to Gareth's film, Dougherty adopted a very different visual identity. So let's get into what shapes their styles, then watch them swap. From the late 2000s to the mid-2010s, many blockbusters were dark, grim, and oddly underexposed. Alien vs. Predator Requiem, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, The Amazing Spider-Man, and many others. Edwards and his DP Seamus McGarvey wanted to take a documentary-like approach, placing the viewer directly in the middle of the action. Through a combination of lens choice and on-set atmosphere, the photography stays relatively soft, imparting a gentle, filmic feel. A majority of shots are from the actor's perspective, saving the God's eye view for the third act. Even they remain mostly grounded though, consistently giving the impression of being captured from a helicopter or a drone. Scale is the focus, from the environments and destruction to the creatures themselves. Each element is framed to feel vast and epic. Everything is overwhelmingly dark, being illuminated by naturalistic low light. Even sequences in direct daylight are dim. Speculars are deliberately subdued, never hitting pure white. Despite their restricted levels, they are noticeably detailed, revealing the intricacies of flames, clouds, the atomic breath, and many other elements. Black levels, on the other hand, are thick. There are trace amounts of crush, but most of the time they possess great amounts of information. It's just so dark that you can't see any of it. While the dense blacks appear to be a disadvantage on their own, when paired with the film's heavy use of key lighting, they create a strong visual focus. This is crucial for the movie's reoccurring silhouettes. Such a juxtaposition allows the frame to control the viewer's eye, revealing only what it deems fit. And with such low-level highlights, a flat, almost smoky contrast is formed. Adding to this air of desolation, the entire film is greatly desaturated, favoring monochromatic palettes with occasional splashes of color to break up the action. Grays and reds are favored, constructing a bleak, almost apocalyptic atmosphere. Consequently, the atomic breath becomes even more striking, as such vibrancy is uncommon. In cases where there is a break from the monochrome, the hues, while subdued, are bold, allowing each individual shade to breathe. The darkness assists this density, producing a thick, almost painterly quality. Skin tones are frequently natural, but when placed in grungy environments they become quite dirty. A light layer of grain adds to this grit. Godzilla 2014 depicts a dreary, grounded world that, while difficult to discern at times, holds an immense amount of texture within. The detailed highlights placed alongside the dense shadows and richly muted colors result in a look that greatly bolsters the film's solemn tone. As the 2010s approached their end, a convergence between photochemical properties and digital workflows began to form. Joker, Dune, The Batman, Blade Runner 2049, just to name a few, were all shot digitally, yet adopted film-like characteristics in different ways. Joker mimicked the contrast and color of Kodak stocks. Dune and The Batman both embraced limited exposure and roll-offs across their tonal ends, along with receiving film outs. Blade Runner 2049 similarly favored tapered highlights and shadows, along with a focus on color density rather than saturation. Even Infinity War and Endgame, films rooted in a digital approach, softened their highlights, capturing some of that filmic restraint. While Dougherty and his DP, Lawrence Sher, did not adopt every one of the aforementioned traits, they did share a similar philosophy for King of the Monsters. Dougherty wanted to retain a confidence that was once had with shadows and grain. Placing an emphasis on atmospherics and texture, the image was intentionally dirtied. For sequences focused on the humans, shots are very grounded, keeping an intimate focus on their drama. However, once the kaiju enter the picture, the composition begins to take greater liberties, with radically fast push-ins and pull-outs, differing focal lengths between plate and effect, and frequent God's eye view. While a dirting of the lens and the occasional handheld shake are added for realism, said creative decisions deviate the film from being considered fully grounded. A majority of the movie is doused in rich shadow, occasionally broken by flashes of searing light. But upon further inspection, there are two varying approaches between actors and monsters. While both utilize environmental lighting, human focus sequences prioritize facial sculpting, whereas kaiju sequences favor silhouettes crafted through ambient lighting and rim lights. Sources of illumination range from computer screens and lightning flashes to the kaiju's bioluminescence, casting bright highlights, particularly speculars. They are quite intense, but are softened by a filmic roll-off. Darker values, while dense, taper out into a roll-off, drawing focus to the midtones. Due to the heavy weather and environmental haze, most kaiju sequences rarely hit low blacks, instead resting at the upper ends of the shadows and lower end of the midtones. Conversely, the majority of live-action footage lies within a wide range of light and dark. Human sequences are high contrast, while kaiju sequences are low contrast, relying on rim lights and color separation to shape the image. Palette-wise, the movie leans very monochrome, often choosing a singular hue to represent environments. When humans are the focus, the palette expands. Locations still keep primarily warm or cold tones, but the varied set design, assorted lighting, and toasty skin tones introduce ample diversity. In the presence of storm or kaiju, the look only intensifies, consolidating all these elements into a locked hue. Split toning, warm highlights placed against cool shadows, ensures strong tonal contrast throughout. This effect is most prominent in everyday interiors, adding some depth alongside a filmic feel. Saturation is high, increasing in the presence of brighter areas while remaining quite subdued in the low end. A thick layer of grain exists for extra texture. Godzilla King of the Monsters paints a fantastical world that is ripe with light and color, calling up monochromatic environments to craft a painterly frame. Its use of color separation and dirty tones allows it to stand out from its cohorts, offering the audience a unique visual experience. I'll address the gray elephant in the room. For over a decade, the belief has been that Godzilla 2014's Blu-ray is darker than what was shown in theaters. This has seemingly been confirmed by Gareth, but unfortunately a lot doesn't add up, particularly some odd quirks with the 4K. So I'm currently working on a now 40-page script exploring the full truth of it all. Set to release 1 year from today, May 16th, 2027. Mark your calendars, it'll be a big one. Nevertheless, since the Blu-ray is the most commonly recognized look for the film, that's what I've used. As for King of the Monsters, I want to announce that someday I will be making a deeper breakdown, covering Doherty's influences like Renaissance paintings, Blade Runner, and many others. Now that everything is squared away, time for the main event. Let's watch their style swallow. that was neat. I hope that this little thought experiment has helped illustrate why these movies look the way they do, along with how incredibly different they are. Quick addendum though, credit to colorist Stephen J. Scott for his work on Godzilla 2014 and Jill Bogdanovich for her work on King of the Monsters. A thanks to Jaden for removing the music from the 2014 footage, and another thanks to Meg from Rated MA for reviewing the script for technical accuracy, and then color notes for the swaps. And finally, a thanks to Nick for rendering out these shots, allowing me to use cycles instead of Eevee. Socials have been linked in the description. I too have socials, where I put whatever. So if you want more whatever, it's there. As for this channel specifically, I'll be posting some fun color experiments here and there, but these style swaps will be my main focus. I plan for monthly releases as they take a lot of time to put together. For an in-depth breakdown of not only this video, but the specific scenes they copy, then join me tomorrow, May 17th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or watch the archive if it's past. Looking ahead, November's style swap will be determined by you, the viewer. I'll have polls across my socials narrowing down the final 2 contenders, so make sure to vote. But if you want even more input, feel free to join my Patreon. As a member, you'll be privy to behind-the-scenes content, high-quality screen caps, scrapped looks, and so much more. There might even be a sneak peek for the next style swap. Stay tuned for that one, because it's gonna be super.
Califragilisticexpialidocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Yeah.